We learned how to place a effect or a filter on a video clip in a previous lesson and learned that they can be modified. But let's explore some ways that you can modify effects that are placed on a clip. For example, I placed a gamma correction on the barbecue pizza JPEG, and I'm going to go ahead and click on that and switch over to the Effects tab and do a little bit of modification. Now, in this case, there's only one parameter that I can work with. And at first blush, it looks like there's just a single number 10, and I can go ahead and either type in a number, or if I float my mouse over it and then click and drag, I can make this a virtual slider. And as you can see, the more I move it to the right, the darker my image gets. And it actually gets to the point where the pizza doesn't look appetizing, it just looks really, really old. So I need to find a nice splitting the difference and just judging where it looks rich and tasty, and I can pick a good number. You could also type in a number, but this is important to note. In the case of the gamma shift, you basically only have a range of like 30, so when you move that virtual slider, you could be pretty precise. But in some filters, you might have a range of several hundred, in which case you can't be that precise. So what you may want to do is click on the disclosure triangle next to a filter's parameter, and you'll see a slider that you'll have much finer control over. So I think we have this pretty good. I'll just work with the slider a little bit. Yeah, too pale, and that's just about perfect. So now this is much better. Now, if I want to see what a clip looks like with or without the filter, I can simply disable it. And to disable a filter, you would go over to the left side and click on the little button that says FX. When that is turned off, the filter is no longer applied, but it's still there, so you don't have to go back and reinvent the wheel. I can quickly turn that back on and see exactly what it looks like. Let's take a look at another filter that might have a few more parameters and how you might want to adjust that. I'm going to apply a filter to the second video track, which is our title Delight Gluten-Free Magazine. That still doesn't punch as much as I want it to. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. I'm going to go to the Video Effects folder, and I could once again dig and try to find out where the effect I'm looking for is, but I know for a fact a drop shadow will really make this pop. So I'm simply going to type in the word drop, and I can see that there is two things with the word drop in it, the eyedropper fill and drop shadow. Whenever you type in a few keywords to find a filter or a transition or a generator, make sure you select the one that you were anticipating was going to pop up. I'm going to just double click on the drop shadow, and because the clip is already selected, it will be automatically applied to the graphic, and you'll notice that now it pops a little more. There's a little more depth to it because I have a small drop shadow. But take a look in the Effects Control tab. You'll notice that in this case, I have several different parameters that I can modify, whereas in the gamma, I only had one, and earlier on, in black and white, I had none. So what I want to do is maybe create a little more distance between the letters and the background. And to do that, I'm going to increase the distance of my shadow. Instead of using the virtual slider, I'm going to go ahead and click on the disclosure triangle, and as you can see, this one goes up to 120, so it was a wise choice because I'll have a lot more fine control. I'm going to just move it a little bit, and as I move it, you'll see it updating, and I'm going to go crazy here a second. I could really put it far away, but as you see, again, doesn't look right, doesn't feel right. So we're going to bring it back just to give it a little bit of depth. And I want it to pop a little bit, so maybe I'll take the opacity and I'll make it a little bit darker. And I'm pretty happy with the direction, but if you wanted to, you could position where the light is coming from so I can control where the shadow is cast. So I'm pretty happy with that. I think it's quite a bit better. If I wanted to adjust that a little bit, I like Delight, but I think here it needs to be closer under the word gluten. So I'm going to pull back the distance just a little bit and split the difference, and now I'm happy. I can go ahead and show you without and with. So as you see, applying an effect or a filter and then enhancing it with modifications can really improve the look of a clip.